Day 4 of our brewery challenge, where I will take any opportunity to hold a beer in my hand.
There, you got it.
Brewers from around the Twin Cities have picked their beer. They then select a dish that they'd like us to make, and then one of our chefs takes it from there.
That's the challenge. This week we've made ceviche, pork tacos, and mussels with French fries. Today we're putting the co-owner of Cafe 421 in Minneapolis, Antigoni Sander McCloud, to the test. Hi, Tig. Nice to see you.
Good to see you
Okay,
too.
before we get cooking, you have to look at your challenge.
Okay.
Antigoni, my challenge to you is to make a beef stew out of our Bitterschleppe brown ale.
And I've been sampling the brown ale, Bob, and it's good.
That is good. So Excelsior Brewing Company's brown ale.
Yep.
Beef stew, you're thinking June, it's going to be really hot. Guess what? This is perfect.
I know, I was so stressed about it when I got the challenge. I was like, it's going to be 90 degrees, but gorgeous and overcast today. It's the perfect day for beef stew.
I love this.
Yeah.
So beef stew starts with beef, right?
Yes, absolutely. And there's some tricks to making a good beef stew, how to thicken it and that sort of thing. And the first step in that is to dredge your beef cubes in flour. So we've just got good old classic all-purpose flour.
Give them a dredging, Liz.
Yep.
Dredge it up,
Toss it in there.
That's good.
And I've
Should I
cut
put it in the pan?
Yep, you can toss it in the pan.
Okay.
We've got the oil.
What does that
heating
do,
here.
Antigoni?
That creates a crust on the meat, so it's going to assist in caramelization, and then later on, it's also going to help thicken the stew because of the flour.
Love that. That's great. But do you buy, you know, it looks like you cut this up yourself.
I did. You can go to the supermarket and he's got a knife.
Woo.
You can go to the supermarket and buy the beef already cut into chunks, or you may ask your kind butcher to chop it for you. But if you want to save a little money, you can buy a whole chuck roast like you see to the left there, Chris. Yep. Slice it into a steak.
Yeah.
And then cut it into the size cubes that you prefer. I went with about 1.5 to 2 inch sized cubes here.
I like this because I think beef stew is sort of like, that's sort of the charm, is the big chunks of beef, right?
Exactly. You don't want it falling apart.
You don't want to get one in every bite. It's like a special bonus when you get
and then you like strategize, you ration your beef bites with the stew?
Not in this stew. You get loads and loads of beef all through the stew.
Okay, I'll just keep doing this.
And a nice little tip about slicing the beef, if you buy it fresh and you want to use it that day, put it in the freezer for about a half an hour or so, and that tightens it up a little bit and it makes it easier to slice that meat.
Okay,
good.
All right.
I'm trying to go as fast as I can. I'm dredging so fast.
You can stop dredging.
Okay, let's just put this one in there. You think we're good?
Yeah,
Okay.
so what we would do, I'll take the tongs from you.
Oh, sure, here you go.
What we would do if we were making this all the way, we would brown the beef completely until there was a nice crust on all 4 sides of the cubes. You don't want to crowd your pan because that brings the heat down and it slows down that process.
Okay.
So you might have to do it in 2 or 3 batches.
Okay.
Then you take the meat out and then you would add the vegetables into that pan where you had all the yummy beef bits at the bottom and the fat that's sort of rendered off.
And so what kind of veggies are we adding?
We've got carrots, asparagus, cremini mushrooms, which are baby portobellos, so they're nice and hearty, and they really hold up well in the stew.
Nice.
And then at the end of the cooking process, once the stew has been cooking for about an hour, we're going to add the softer vegetables like spring peas, and that's when I add the asparagus as well.
This is great.
Okay, so
when does the beer come in?
Do this. Now we would take the veggies out, set them aside, put the meat back in, and then add the beer.
Okay, so we're kind of speeding up this process.
We're speeding it up because stew takes about 2.5 hours. So we're not going to be able to do that in 6 minutes, and it wouldn't be delicious even if we tried. So we would bring that up to a boil and reduce it down by about 2/3. Then we add chicken stock, not beef stock, actually. And the chicken stock gives it a lighter flavor. Some people tend to find beef stock that's already made a little bit tingy. And so this is going to be a nice mellow flavor, and I get the unsalted, and then you bring that to a boil, you would cover it and cook it for an hour, add the veggies in.
Let's bring in Bob.
This is what you look at.
Okay, this looks so delicious.
Come on in,
Bob's
Bob.
coming in, and Bob has already tried this because she served it over noodles with a little bit of sour cream. Is that right?
A little sour cream, and there's dill in there to spring it up a little bit.
I always eat things right out of the pan like I'm at my house.
Yeah,
so,
please do.
So
Absolutely.
Bob, what do you think?
Yeah.
Well, I had to stop eating it just a second ago. It's really, really good.
Oh my gosh,
The
it is
dill
so good.
the dill just works really well with that little bit of hoppiness with our brown ale, and the onion and everything that's sort of caramelizing in there with carrot, with the brown ale flavor is just fantastic. I mean, this is the best beef stew I've ever had.
I just wanted to make your beer look good. That
Tell us
was
a little
all.
bit about Excelsior Brewing Company for people who aren't that familiar.
We're a relatively new brewing company. We opened July 2nd last year.
In one of the greatest towns in
Excelsior,
the area.
Minnesota.
Yes.
We're in the Old Town area between 2nd and 3rd Street. Our tap room's open from 4 to 10 Thursday, Friday, and from noon to 10 on Saturday.
You
So
might need to
can
get
come
Tig
in.
out there to make some of this stew for some of your
Yeah,
customers. I bet
seriously,
for the right price,
I think
she'd
it would
probably
just
go.
go like wildfire.
Now, tell me about
flavor.
serving the stew on the noodles. I mean, that's kind of
Pretty
being
classic.
crazy.
Yeah, I'm doing the egg noodle because with the dill, it kind of reminds me of sort of an Eastern European dish.
Yeah.
So we've got that classic egg noodle, but you could do a dumpling, you could put it over mashed potatoes or rice, whatever your family likes.
The dill is
Yeah.
delicious. You did a great job,
Thank
Tig. Thank
you.
you. And Bob,
Thanks,
thanks
guys.
for
Thanks,
presenting
Bob.
such a great
Thanks for having
challenge and
me.
coming
Awesome.
back.
And
You can
thanks
keep
for
eating that now.
leaving that-
Please.
That was really nice of you to leave that
Enjoy
beer
it.
here, too. Go to TwinCitiesLive.com, click on food for more information on Excelsior Brewing Company and this recipe. We also have a link to a Food Network commercial that Antigoni was recently featured in.
That's awesome.